Yes, indeed, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines. I'm standing on property over in Quitman, Brooks County, and in the state of Georgia. This once was known as Washington Street High School. This is the school that I graduated from in 1970. Then when integration came, that school went to a smaller middle school, and blacks moved to the white school, which was traditional throughout the South, and eventually the school was torn down. This is why it's so important for us as Americans to remember our history. For if our children came out here today and look around and they wouldn't see any markers, they wouldn't see anything that would give them the least impression that it once was an all-black segregated school that produced doctors, lawyers, generals, and other professionals. They wouldn't know nothing about how we got hand-me-down books from the white schools, and the whites was always ahead of us because they got the newest of books, and when the books became raggedy until the state could restore those books or replace those books, we had to make do with what we had until the whites used them, and then of course we got them. But I want to bring this to your attention today, why it's so important for us not to forget our history. Oh, I've talked at a class reunion about putting a historic marker up here somewhere, so when we tell our children that this was an all-black school, our great-great-grandchildren, they would not call us a liar, but right now they would call us a liar for the most part because we didn't think enough to put something out here on these grounds. So that bothers me. But even more sickening is what bothers me is the fact that we turn our head on the Quitman 10+2 who remembers this school. They may not have graduated from this school, but they remember the school, and so they remember those educators that went to the white school, and those who probably wasn't just fired and let go because they couldn't find employment. But we ignore the value of the Quitman 10+2. You see, the education that we got here through segregation was a different type of education. We had educators who we know loved us. We had educators who understood the black flight and what we had to do in order to elevate to that white man's society and to be able to compete with him and go from 0 all the way up to 1,000 or 1,000,000, wherever we had to go to excel or do what we had to do. We were taught at that all-black school that we had to be 2 or 3 times as good as a white man in order to get the same paying job, and even then we may get fingers turned down on us, so we expected that. Many of young children don't know what's going on today. And so this is, again, let me repeat, so this again is why we must look up to the Quitman 10+2. Do you not know that they gave Brooks County the first majority on the Brooks County School Board of Education? And do you know that many black folk here in Quitman and Brooks County, they look down on the Quitman 10 as if though they committed some crime because they haven't done their homework to look at the historic archival record, nor have they sat in the courtrooms on these 2 trials that have been methodically forced upon Lula Smart, that the news media here in South Georgia have ignored. You don't know what happened at either one of those trials unless you was there, because no news media thought enough of you as an American to report the facts of those 2 trials. And so after Lula Smart was caught up in the second mistrial in April of this year, you don't know what I have put on YouTube, and you don't even know why I'm under a 379-day criminal trespass by Lowndes County Sheriff Department and possibly others unknown. Because as we were taught at Washington Street High School, never to sell our birthright. We were taught to be better than just a mathematician. We had to go the extra mile so we can sit back and watch the mathematician do what we already knew, but we kept our mouths shut because we wanted the job. And if we were better mathematicians than others, then we would even get the job when we were the masters of mathematics. And so we have to wake up today. We have to wake up to the new reality of now and understand, why is it that the news media in South Georgia don't sit in on those cases that are very important, that dealing with voting rights here in the state of Georgia? Why is it that the Democratic Party have not embraced the Quitman 10+2? Why is it that the Republican Party, the Green Party, the Independent Party haven't embraced the Quitman 10+2 if they are really concerned about voting rights? And so I am a Democrat. But I am not, let me repeat, I am not happy about the way the Democratic Party has treated the Quitman 10+2 here in Brooks County, who has done nothing wrong. And so now after the second mistrial, we all must ask a question. What question must we ask? We must ask, why did Governor Nathan Deal find it necessary to remove those 2 members from the Brooks County Board of Education by the swift of a pen instead of letting them go through the process? Now it's been 3 years and 6 months pretty soon, and they still have not had their day in court, on trial by a legitimate jury. Do you not know that the first trial of the Quitman 10+2 had 2 or 3 blacks on it, and that's all, and the second jury didn't have but 1 black on it? 1 black man. Isn't that something? And they had 1 Latino that could not understand English. They put 1 Latino who could not speak nor understand English, for the most part. Now ask me, how do I know? Channel 6 was not there every day. Channel 10 was not there every day. Channel 27 was not there every day. The Valdosta Daily Times was not there every day. No news media was there every day, but the Ghetto Free Press was. Just like the first mistrial, I was there. And if you go to Boston G.B.R. Quitman 10+2 playlist, you will see what you will never know unless you was in the courtroom. That's the game they play with us, you see. But thank God for Principal Robert C. Marshall and Mr. Rutherford over at the Booker T. Washington Elementary School. We must thank those black educators because they took a stick and taught us how to write. They took a BB gun and taught us how to master the M16. Every time I picked up the M16 in the United States Armed Forces, I got marksmanship. Because they always told me, be certain of your target. There's no need of aiming if you're not certain of your target. And so we don't want to ever forget Washington Street High School, Booker T. Washington, and other schools throughout Brooks County. But above all, at this dispensation, we can't live in the past talking about a dream of Dr. King to hell or to heaven with that dream. What we must learn how to do is ream out from that dream to understand what others are dreaming and plotting against us as they did yesteryear. And so now, since it'll soon be 3 years that those 12 outstanding Brooks County citizens have been used as a tool of somebody, just like the ones in Madison was used as a tool for somebody. And it's not just here. That's the same thing that's applicable in many other counties in the state of Georgia. But you don't know about it because the news media control it, suppress it, snip it, and soundbite it, and you never get it. So now look, I am under a criminal trespass for violating no law. No law. And everybody of importance in the state of Georgia are aware of it. The NAACP, the SCLC, everybody. Jesse Jackson, Janice Mathis, they all know about my criminal trespass charge without justification or notification. Look, don't mean to skip around, but I'm pregnant and I'm trying to give birth so you can get your mind up, so you can bring your children up. I was brought up by this school that no longer exists here, but I am a product of Washington Street High School and the United States Armed Forces. Do you not know when I took the military entrance exam that I had to compete against white people who had the best of books, the best of schools, the best of education, the Catholic schools, and everybody? They didn't say because you was inferior, you went to inferior schools or schools that didn't have the newest of books. They didn't use that in the scenario. That was not even in the equation. But we competed from these schools and we held our own. And not only that, we were held back for hundreds of years, couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't speak our mother tongue, stripped of our religion, our name, our God, our ancestral heritage, and self-pride that the black man had from the building of the pyramids in Egypt and King Khufu, the first one. Our history. We don't know that Africa, the name of that continent, a European stamped that name on a continent and people. And he murdered black people. And so we talk about we are African American, we say that out of ignorance. And I'm not downing you for it. But when you learn better, you do better. And when you do better, then you act like the Quitman 10 plus 2. You go out and do what needs to do. They said that they knew that often their voting, that voting process just didn't tally up. See, we were taught real math here. We didn't know that about this new math. We learned the old math, that 1 plus 1 equals 2. And 2 plus 2 equals 4, and that's the end of it. So we knew that something was happening. And so they chose to use absentee ballots because the old math had been kicked out the door. So when they voted by absentee ballots, they brought the old mathematics back where you can actually count what the deal is. And so when blacks became the majority on the Brooks County Board of Education, then Dr. Nancy Dennett became the superintendent of all people, all people, Board of Education members. As the president, she became over all of those board members as far as conducting the meetings. But she was in tune with the people in Brooks County. So as president of the Brooks County Board of Education, she became hot stuff in the minds of some people, I'm sure, who never wanted to see a majority on the Brooks County Board of Education. Now, as I close this out, Governor Deal removed 2 of them, and because they didn't go to court, he had to put them back on the board. Now we gotta ask, what did the G.B.R. had to do in this? Since you heard me say, because I walked the streets, voters say they was intimidated by the G.B.R., so we must question the G.B.R. The G.B.R. are not above questioning, especially when you got an 84-year-old woman in a little small town not far from here say she will never vote again. People living right across from my cousins over there say the lady was so scared she wouldn't even come out the house on the next election because of what the G.B.R. and the way they treated her. Intimidation. You don't know nothing about that, though. David Miller, the district attorney, David Miller. David Miller was in office when Willie Jane Williams died in the Lowndes County Jail in 1998. And the rest is history. What part did Brad Shealy play in the Quitman 10 plus 2? I'm just asking questions. And since I served this country, and since I was born in this country, I have a right to ask these questions, and you as well. So even the attorney, Mohadi, whatever his name is, Mohales, I can't pronounce it right. Sorry about that, a Washington Street educator, but some names just get me. But anyway, you know who he is. Why is the prosecution of the state of Georgia so consistent in talking about trying Lula Smart again? You already tried her twice. You get a mistrial every time. And yet, the Postmaster General of the United States of America never said nothing about the postal clerk who was mishandling absentee ballots in the post office. The Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, haven't said nothing about the lady at the registrar's office who took ballots home to work on them. So they are setting a precedent saying to other registrars, if you want to, you can take ballots to your home, to your hotel, to your recreational resort and work on those ballots. You know, just work on the ballots. If the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, hasn't said nothing about that came out in the court case, how can that be? How can Eric Holder, the Civil Rights Division, not say nothing? Come on, y'all, get serious with me. Now, you all wondering why am I so persistent in what I'm doing? Because of God, because of Jesus, because of Muhammad, because of Jah, because of El Shaddai, because of Elohim, because of all these names of the prophets, priests, and kings who stood up on the side of right and righteousness. And so I am a product of Washington Street High School. I'm not the best that came through Washington Street High School, by the way, while I'm at it. But nobody came through Washington Street High School better than me. That I know. For we all are precious in God's sight. And so the question must be asked, what did the Attorney General Owens have to do with the Quitman 10+2? You see, you know, you've seen me talk about the black mayors in Meigs, Georgia, Davisboro, Georgia, Warrenton, Georgia, Gordon, Georgia, Dawson, Georgia. You hear me talk about them all the time. And I email the Justice Department. I emailed the Congressional Black Caucus. I emailed the NAACP. I emailed the SCLC. I even sent some to President Barack Obama, whether he get it or not. Why do I do this? Because as a graduate of Washington Street High School, an all-black school that educated me and gave an offshoot to the Quitman 10+2, we cannot allow our children to have to repeat what we went through. And unless we stand up and tell the truth, our history and our news will be lost forever. Somebody got to do more than dip when they go to church, mosque, synagogue, and temples on these most holy days of worship, they say. You gotta do more than duplicate the life of Jesus. You gotta do more than imitate the life of Moses. You gotta do more than placate the life of Jah. Talking about you are this and you are that and you better than everybody else. But you can't get involved in on the issues that are stagnating your children and causing your children to do drugs and to kill each other and shoot each other down on the street like wild animals because they don't have the knowledge of self. They haven't been educated. They've been trained, but they haven't been educated. And there is a difference, you know. Washington Street High School taught me that. And so now, I don't care if nobody stand up with the Kendrick Johnson family. I'm going to be there with them until the end. I don't care if you don't stand up with the Quitman 10+2. I started out at the beginning with them, and I'm going to stay with them. I don't care if nobody report on the black mayors, most of them female, that are having these major problems, while these black grown-up rusted behind black Negroes won't say nothing. I'm talking about those in the civil rights circles. I'm talking about the big dogs, the top dogs. They not embracing these black mayors in the state of Georgia who are catching pure hell, got to take money out of their own pockets to defend themselves against a system wherein council members are tied in with the attorney, and the attorney and those with the judges, and the judges in with somebody else. And we just watch our people get sent away to jails and prison. Many of them are not guilty. They are not guilty. The girls in Madison was not guilty. Some of them pleaded out, but some of them went all the way, and they won their cases. We plea bargain too much, and we don't support one another as we should. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. Dr. King said, if a man haven't found something that he's willing to die for, then he's not fit to live. That's the education I got from Washington Street High School, this all-black segregated school wherein the teachers loved us and prepared us for the future and the hereafter. And so I could never turn my back on those educators that taught me. I could never turn my back on Washington Street High School. They was the best of educators. This was the best school. And I want to say at this juncture before I close, the worst thing that happened to the black race is when we integrated with white folks. We should have kept our own schools so we could have learned better the knowledge of self, about King Khufu, about the pre-Adamites, and our greatness and our beauty in the eyes of our God, in the beauty of our God. We may not wear our own names. We wear the slave master's relatives' names, or a European name, or the colonial name. But once you get education in your head, as my grandmother said, only completed the 3rd grade of schooling, but she left me with this message. The name don't make the man, but the man makes the name. So we took the European names and we became the scholars. Booker T. Washington didn't have his African names. Don't know his ancestors. He left in Africa when he was kidnapped, and nobody have ever been brought up on charges for kidnapping. But that's okay. We look at the greater scheme of things. Galatians 5 and 6. For God is not mocked, for whatsoever man sow, that shall he also reap. Jesus brought it home until we all can get it. And this is why I like the Quitman 10+2. 8:38, Jesus in the red writing says, for God is not mocked. No. Here's what he said. And ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. We gotta stop living in fear. Don't bow down to no man, woman, or beast. Bow down only to God. Let God be your protector. And though we suffer, and though we die, by the blood of the Lamb, we still gonna overcome. Because our spirit is gonna be recycled, and they're gonna have to fight that same spirit all over again while their children, others, the wicked offsprings of the wicked, going to continue to suffer after generation after generation after generation after generation. And if they never get it right, they're going to be doomed to destruction, and it's going to be of their own doing, not because we retaliated against them. So I thought I'd come out today and give you a little love and let you know. Quitman 10+2, we love you. And to Latasha that died, one of the Quitman 10+2, I believe that that girl would have been alive today. I believe that by her being a lupus patient, the stress helped to kill her. And now the state of Georgia has got these people under additional stress. And somebody got to be called in on the carpet. It may be the governor of Nathan Deal. It may be some of these other names that I call. But eventually, the truth behind what they did to these outstanding citizens, most of them got college degrees, most of them professional people, most of them don't have no criminal record. They are the best of the best. And yet, they didn't forget the rest. They went out to the elderly and asked them, are you a registered voter? And if they were not, they helped register them. Then they followed up with an absentee ballot application. And then the rest is history. And that is that there's a hand behind the hand with a master plan that don't want you to be all that God have ordained you and destined you to be. That is the gymnasium of the Washington Street Wildcats. Used to be Wildcats on that building, but now, if you stand up, you can be the Wildcat today, because most of us today have become nothing more than little putty cats, and we won't stand up for what is right in God's world. On behalf of Robert C. Marshall, principal of Washington Street High School, and to all those educators, black educators, that all-black school, we want to thank you. You gave us what we needed, and now it's time for us to return something back to your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, to let them know that you taught us well. This is George Boston, Ride the Ghetto Free Press, doing what I'm doing because it must be done. I'm not going to say bye-bye, we're gone this time. I'll be back in a little bit.
Made mothers to be angels. You just might be looking at an angel right now. If you're in Los Angeles, California, Nashville, Tennessee, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Chicago, every mother is an angel. God made it that way. If you look around you, coming down every street in every city, you'll see nothing but angels. In Washington, D.C., South Carolina, or wherever you may be,